Hey there, Attack on Titan fans. Welcome to another episode of the Attack on Titan After Show on AFTERBUZZ TV. Tonight, we are talking about episode 32, Close Combat. And guys, someone actually learned how to do a thing. Character development. It's great. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
So we were saying earlier that supposedly the full version of this song is going to be released at some point this month.
At some point in our lives.
I don't know if that's actually true, but I want it and I need it in my life. That would be fantastic.
I mean, listen, I'm already on board with this song, but it did take me until the full version of Wings of Freedom existed to be like, damn, this song is good. So I can only imagine what the full version of this song is going to be like.
I'm super excited for it. I feel like these, once all the openings are done, it's going to be like the Les Mis of anime openings. Just for But anyway, let's not waste any time. Let me go ahead and introduce my fantastic panel. To my left, Katie Cullen.
Hi, all my buddies. You can find me all over the social medias at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet.
To her left, Emma Fyffe.
That's right, I am Emma Fyffe. I can be found all over the internet wherever Emma Fyffes are sold at my name.
And to her left, Alexis Torres.
Hey guys, you guys can find me all over the interwebs at atorres890.
And I'm Megan Salinas. You guys can tweet at me at the Menguin, that's TheMenguin. We're going to be keeping an eye on the hashtag ABTVTitan, as well as an eye on the live chat for those of you watching live with us.
Yes,
Thank
we
you guys
are
so
going
much.
to watch the live chat now that I managed to get my YouTube app unstuck from the BTS video that was Jungkook. He is
I was like,
youngest
Thank goodness.
member of BTS that you were admiring how attractive he was. I would also like to let everybody know that he is 19.
Oh, never mind, take that back. Nope, take it all back. Just
Take it back. Take it back.
Guys, let's start over. Megan, start from the top.
Before we move on with the episode, I do want to remind you guys, as always, please do not drop any manga spoilers in the live chat. Please keep the discussion to this episode and this episode alone. Not everybody on this panel has read this portion of the manga. So guys, be cool, no spoilers.
So yeah, the live chat, the hashtag,
The comments.
like be kind, y'all.
We would be very
kind.
appreciative if you guys did not do that. So that would be great. Okay, guys. After the emotional heartbreak that was the last episode, aka just the episode where Megan's heart was repeatedly kicked.
Do you mean like emotional heartbreak all around, or like personally heartbreaking and a gross attack on your personal feelings?
Do I have to answer that?
We were here, we were watching. It was personal.
Just an infinity.
It was kind of
all
funny.
of it.
You weren't here last time, Emma, but like this was less of an after show and more of just like me crying.
It was a therapy session.
It was nice.
Like working through my issues.
That's fair.
But after that one, I feel like this episode, for the first time in a long time, was really Aaron's episode. Like
It was, but not in an annoying way. And Aaron is sometimes annoying, but he was not annoying in this episode.
Correct.
in like
I agree.
a really interesting, wonderful for his character development way. And you know, for somebody who's our protagonist, I feel like he hasn't gotten a lot of character growth. Probably since becoming a Titan, actually. And
Yeah, it was kind of like he figured out that he had this Titan ability and went, well, cool.
Yeah.
That's me now. I'm just a Titan. I like kick stuff.
yeah, it's just kind of him adjusting to his circumstances.
I think him becoming a Titan saved him from being a one-note shonen protagonist.
That's true.
And also dying.
think
That
about that.
doesn't happen to a lot of...
Dying made him interesting.
Dying in a world that has no revival mechanic. I have to put that in there because of the Yu Yu Hakusho's and Dragon Balls of the world.
Right.
But yeah,
well, in Yu Yu Hakusho, everybody's like already dead.
Some of them.
Some of them died, some of them are demons. The protagonists die in the first 30 seconds
It's
of the
great.
show.
Yeah.
That's why it's the greatest anime.
If you have not seen Yu Yu Hakusho, I cannot
Spoiler
recommend
alert.
it enough. It's
like you
a
need
good one.
to.
Do yourself a favor.
It's
and
absolutely
sit
a
back and
shonen
enjoy.
tournament fighter, but oh my god.
It's so good, though.
But it's
I
not like
loved it.
25 episodes of One Spirit Bomb.
But that's true.
Shall we start?
All right, to go off on a complete segue, I really actually did love the Funimation dub of Yu Yu Hakusho. I
Oh
thought
my
it was
god,
great.
so good.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
Heck yeah, no, it's a really good dub.
Solid.
Yeah, and Chuck Huber, who works on everything at Funimation. That was one of his like first big projects there. He's
girl, I could talk for hours about my love of Hiei.
And about your main Yu Yu Hakusho ship. Kurama and Hiei.
Oh God! Don't get me started.
Sorry.
Don't get me started.
I'm already derailing this, but let's talk about
it's the early 2000s all over again.
Guys, let's talk about Connie and Reiner because
So yeah, before we really get into that, I hate to disappoint you, Andrew, but man, I don't think that ship is ever gonna sail.
It has sunk. It has sunk.
Oh my God, poor thing.
Poor Andrew, because although we do, we don't get a whole lot from everybody outside of Eren in this episode, but man, the one bit of Connie that we actually did get, heart-shattering.
Sweet summer child, I want to give you a hug so bad.
We have to find Bertolt and Ryder. We can't find them. Please save them. Like, friends.
Bro.
Bring it in.
This is gonna be.
Bring it in.
The two that are just like wrecking stuff right now, those are them.
That's
I mean, I had
like,
the same.
oh yeah, you didn't get their evil debrief.
no. Everybody else was on that page except for you and
exactly.
Krista.
Everybody was on that group text.
I don't have my phone. They wouldn't let me keep you with it in the room. No one here has their phones.
And
guys.
They were left out of that vote. They were not invited. They were not included on the Facebook invite.
And him being
No, they've got like 30 missed texts because they took all their phones when they thought someone might be a Titan.
He didn't download the Messenger app, guys. So he's just sitting there like, what's going on?
I hate it when people like do DMs on Twitter and you just don't open the Twitter app. Like, come on.
You don't get notifications? I get notifications.
I have to turn off my Twitter.
Yeah, I have to sometimes.
I get a lot.
Honestly, there are some days it's better just to not deal with it. But for this episode, I love how we took some time in the last episode to kind of go back and deal with the steps and a lot of the scenes leading up to the big reveal of Reiner and Bertolt being Titans, and that's how this episode starts a little bit too, is focusing on the moment where Reiner and Bertolt took a shine to Eren. Ironically, his desire to murder all the Titans is what ultimately impressed them and went, wow, you saw us face to face in our Titan forms and it didn't break your spirit? You're adorable!
I just need to shout out to everybody who's continuing on this Connie joke.
Wilfred Cortana saying that's what Connie gets for missing staff meetings.
And let's see, Shatera saying Connie doesn't subscribe to their stories. I get it, Connie. Connie, I get it. Like, you just don't, you need less clutter in your life.
No, I get it.
Andrew
Nighttail Phoenix saying it's not Connie's fault, it's lag.
And
I
it's like
lost
the
so
one
many
day
Overwatch
he decided
matches
to
that
turn
way.
off his phone because he's like, guys,
I need a day to be off grid.
I need a Connie day.
RA says Connie Snow knows nothing. And
no.
Andrew Fedge says Connie had Signal and they all had WhatsApp. So,
Wow.
so good. But like, circling back to that flashback, can we talk about how my favorite moment of all of this was when Annie in the flashback like took Eren down and Mikasa's like, I want to learn that move.
After throwing Reinhardt on top of him.
I just love poor Reinhardt.
Bye.
It's literally one of the funniest things I've ever
But
seen.
the best part of that whole thing was my man Jean, again, every single flashback.
I'm not even gonna lie. I saw Jean in this. I was like, it's finally Jean.
But it's a flashback,
He was
though.
doing my favorite thing that Jean does, which is being madly in love with Mikasa. Where he was basically like, oh yeah, I bet my whole dinner on Mikasa for this fight.
I feel like Finally Jean is the spin-off show that
Yes, the spin-off show of my dream.
It's Finally Jean!
We've definitely brought it up more than once, but in the abridged series did a little short of Jean doing love songs specifically to Mikasa.
No, that's why I love him, and that is why, like, no joke, and you can all judge me for this, but like Jean Mikasa is like my next ship, like after Ymir and Krista. It is.
Where does Connie and Reiner fall?
Connie, anything.
Connie and Reiner is like getting up there. You know what I mean? Like I'm feeling it.
She is like competent sexual though. She's not. I don't think she's into anyone so much as is like when all of the Titans have been murdered. then maybe I'll consider something.
Well, that's why, but like, I just love how obsessed John is with her. Like, it's so adorable.
Guys, here's the thing. It's easy to look at Mikasa and assume that, she's a stone cold badass.
Yeah.
But, guys, she has a heart. And I'm talking about not just for Eren and Armin, her two closest friends / the only family she has left. She has a heart that extends to all of their comrades as well. And we see that at the start of this episode when she's like, I missed my chance. Now it's going to be chaos. Why did I hesitate? And just without a lengthy flashback or an exposition dump, like, we just get a quick flash of Reiner and Bertolt's faces when she's attacking them. Yeah. And that's all we need to see.
Yeah. They both look terrifying.
Right, and I mean, and I think it's Jonathan Yara in the chat keeps wanting to bring up the fact that, like, Mikasa gets so mad that she can't remove their heads, or cut into the back of their necks like you do with most Titans. But I think that
she was ready to straight up behead them when they were humans.
No, totally. But I mean, it came from a place like the reason she's so upset is because she does feel so betrayed because Reiner and Bertolt were like the main bros they could count on.
Yeah. No, like out of every, again, Bertolt's a major wallflower, but again, Reiner was everyone's big brother.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, and it breaks my heart. Anyway, we went through enough of that in the last episode. Last episode was me dealing with that. This episode is Eren dealing with it.
Yes.
And I actually really loved the progression of this fight. For one, not only because the animation is absolutely stellar in a way that we have not seen in Attack on Titan in a long time. Straight up Titan fight, so good. But because of the logical progression that it takes, you see Eren's thought process through this entire fight, and you see him go from berserker mode and like just, I want to punch it until it's dead, to using strategy.
Because punching it until it's dead doesn't it? Just the best for me. The two best scenes in this episode were the end, which we will get to.
Ouch.
And the armored titan punching Eren so hard he does 3.5 spins in the air.
That was
you
beautiful.
can even see the little rings because it's
too.
this big swelling music and like, I'm gonna wreck you guys. Nope, goodbye.
No, which is very similar to the start of the series when Eren lost his limbs. It was the I'm gonna avenge my friend, and then he got literally his leg cut out from underneath him.
That was his big old nope.
No, the armored titan here punched him so hard he punched him into the past.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's actually extremely fair. That's so funny.
But
I love that when you came, because basically like at the end of the last episode, obviously the big transformation happened. We saw that Eren transformed into a Titan, and I liked that like we didn't exactly pick up in the place that we left off. Like it started with the flashback, and then like they're out in the woods, and like it's going like because like at that point like Eren is already missing part of his arm, and you're like, oh, this is not going well.
No, and it's so great because again it takes you right into the emotion of that scene. We brought up Eren crying when he came to the realization, when they're in the middle of kidnapping him, he's weeping for his lost friends. Yeah. And here we come right into the middle of that from that flashback. And again, it was a really solid choice in terms of this season has been really good about its narrative structure in terms of its use of flashbacks and in occasional cases use of rewind too. Yeah. We even got a little bit of that in this episode too.
Yeah. And also even the flashback to the very first episode and his mom getting horribly murdered.
Yeah.
Like, yep, this is the basis of his everything, and these two are the reason.
Yep.
And I also liked, when we saw in this episode the Colossal Titan using strategy, basically, making his skin boil so that they can't use the 3D maneuver gear against him.
And a kind of a subtle detail that also doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the fight, but kind of an interesting thing to kind of keep in mind as they're doing this, because one of the things we brought up was, like, if these two have been Titans the whole time, why didn't they just take out the walls in, like, a matter of days or weeks? and I think we see that here, they are literally punching each other into the wall, and it's not making a dent.
Oh my gosh! And when they started like thinking that the colossal titan was like calling upon other titans for help, I was like, well, the wall is just gonna disappear. It's gonna be all titans.
I did think the exact same thing, or that I thought the colossal titan was going to explode, and there was just going to be a bunch of titans that just came out of it. And then
like a titan pinata.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Because he also swallowed Ymir.
Yeah.
And so I thought that Ymir was gonna like
pop
bust
out. That's what I thought it was, and I was like, is that what they've been doing? That's why his stomach is like in the wall, and it's gonna rip open, and his
Russian nesting doll.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought.
That would have been amazing.
I think it would be crazy.
Although, speaking of him here, I felt really bad because, you know, they, the Colossal Titan did what Annie did to Aaron when she was trying to kidnap him, is he swallows Ymir, and
storage.
Some other guy.
Random civilian.
Because they legit, this was probably a bad translation, but the subtitles literally said, oh no, and then somebody
And
like
that
guy. Just make up a random German name for this person.
Like, he was so unimportant.
And Bob.
Yeah, goes Wilhelm. Like,
No, it's just like, you're a rando person.
not
Goodbye, rando.
or like literally anything.
Nope.
there are any number of sort of like generic names you could have given this person.
None of it. Son Yusuf is calling him a red shirt scout.
And that guy.
That would have been funny if I was in
and
German,
Peggy.
if it was a red, like it meant red shirt and that was his name. I would die. I would have died.
Although, kind of interesting to note that with the exception of Ymir and other guy,
Peggy.
Peggy, it's very interesting because Bertolt actually doesn't really go too much on the offensive. We get some really stellar aerial animation as he's kind of slowly lumbering and swinging at people. But after that, there is absolutely no attack on his part, as you guys pointed out. He used his strategy, and it's a very interesting thing because emitting the hot steam and keeping everybody away, I also wonder if that wasn't just to protect him, but also kind of a way to, so that he didn't have to hurt anybody.
Oh, it's a smoke
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
distraction
Totally
tactic.
makes sense.
Yeah, because, you know, when they transformed, I immediately thought, oh, shoot, guys, this is it. Like,
Yeah.
everybody
Everyone will
here is
die.
screwed. But that's not the case at all. Like, they are actually being not nearly as aggressive as I thought they would be. All things considered. Like, I figured that once you have two smart titans there, everyone is just gonna get wrecked.
Well, and I think part of the reason for the smokescreen is he knows he's not going to win that fight. The point of being the Colossal Titan is to be a shock trooper. You put him where he needs to be to do one job, and then you get him the hell out of Dodge. Because the second time he showed up, Aaron nearly waxed him. And it's Aaron before he's a Titan. And he nearly got in there. So, yeah. So he is very big and very powerful and also very slow and very vulnerable.
Yeah.
So you put him where he needs to be, he has one job, and then he gets the hell out of Dodge. And he very quickly realized, oh, look, Ma, no legs. And so getting the hell out of Dodge was, okay, smoke screen time.
Yeah.
Keep everyone from getting as close to me as they can.
Yep.
Like, I don't think Bertolt's in there anymore. I think he's like, smoke screen,
And
drop
just
under the
left.
bones, and let's just leave.
You think?
I don't
Let's
know.
go.
Well,
I
it's... Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna agree with that because I feel like after he swallowed our John Doe and Ymir, I
What's
think
his
that
face?
he just probably because if you noticed that his head was kind of melting at that point in time, so
Yeah.
maybe he got out and is like running in the forest with somebody else and
Yeah, we don't
Ymir.
really know at this point because
No.
it like literally the Colossal Titan is just like a steaming geyser sitting on top.
Smoke
of-
screen.
Yeah.
That's just it.
Just had an idea.
Oh.
Just the because I was just thinking about how Bertolt is pretty defenseless, right? If that is the case, if he's just using the husk of the Colossal Titan as kind of a smokescreen as he makes his getaway, then like he doesn't really have anywhere to go because he doesn't have any ODM gear. You know who did? what's his face?
Yeah, no.
That's true. That guy.
So that was why he stole that guy, because he just needed his gear.
So I was like, does he need it? And then I was like, nah, that's probably not what it is.
As Wilfred has phrased something, I think I love it. So Bertolt was almost Aaron's first.
Oh,
I love you.
That's terrible, and I love it. But yes? Question
Oh
mark.
my god. And Reggie says colossal vape life.
I don't want to see those tricks. Nope. No vape tricks from that.
You just saw that
Just
trick.
the one. Just the one, though.
Well, that's all you really need.
Yeah, I don't need little circles and stuff. I might get a little
I do want to give a Twitter shout out to Ben on Twitter. That's Rakinar, I think, on Twitter. I'm sorry, Ben, if I'm totally mispronouncing that. But he gave us a wonderful Tumblr screenshot via ADTV Titan. The manga panel of Bertolt's internal screaming.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
And the caption is, Reiner, why are you telling him this? Reiner, stop. Reiner, please. Right? Oh, gosh. Bertolt's internal screaming is my literal favorite thing.
Seriously, just cue up the sound of silence. You just slowly zooming in on his face while that plays.
So thank you for that, Ben. Well, before we move on, I do want to talk to you guys really quickly about iTunes. Folks, thank you so much to everybody who's gone to iTunes to rate, subscribe, leave a comment. We love hearing from you, and it is the best way to let our producers know that you guys like the show that we're putting on. It keeps us at these desks, it keeps the lights on, and personally, it's just the highlight of my week. And if you guys do leave a comment, you might even get a shout out on the show.
What was the date of our last show?
Is it like the last one was the 8th.
Yeah, there's actually
we have
it should start with Marco's pain.
Nice.
further back than
While
that?
you guys are looking that up.
Okay, we have like 8 reviews, and I think we have time.
Yeah, we have time. We've got plenty of time to go ahead and read everything out.
Marco's Pain from Kakashi141. First off, 10 out of 10 podcast, and if this one didn't come back for season 2, I was gonna hurt someone. Yep, here's a pun or two for you. What do you call a Titan that can't swim? Titanic.
Oh my god.
If Armin, Aaron, and Marco made a band, it would be 2.5 men.
Stop it. Stop it right now.
Quality by the Fourth Doctor. I enjoy the show. The hosts are great and it's well produced. I additionally looked for Attack on Titan podcast after watching Beast Titan to see if others were as broken inside afterwards. This was the podcast for me. A must listen for Attack on Titan fans by EAZ.
You read this one already. Scroll down. You're scrolling up.
I am, because these are all the later ones.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. I don't know how it works on the mobile app.
Yeah. What is the mobile app? What is life?
My
Yeah, because
apologies.
you're supposed to go.
You can sort them by most recent.
That's what I've been doing.
Cool,
Best
cool.
After Show by Chris and DC United. Glad I finally found this. Thank you for the great podcast. Just What I Needed by Snivelus0_0. So Snivel is staring at the world. Warning, coded spoilers up to season 2, episode 6, which is last episode.
Last week. So
I
we're
found
good.
this podcast after a certain episode where a certain beloved someone was revealed to be someone else, and I just needed a shoulder to cry on. Luckily, the amazing hosts of this podcast were able to verbalize my internal Bertolt screaming. Their discussions are always hilarious and insightful, and I will definitely be heading here every episode for season 2. Keep up the great work. Strong work by Otaku Plumber. I caught myself trying to interject myself into your conversation, and I love it. I found you guys after finishing season 2, episodes 1 and 2. I will catch up and listen to you guys after each one. See if it was only me that caught the interesting tidbits. Thanks. Excellent by the Lady Bruce. Perfect thing for those going through the emotional journey that is Attack on Titan season 2.
It is an emotional journey.
Yeah,
It's part group therapy, part insightful commentary, and part hilariousness. Highly recommended. The depth that the series deserves by So What Films. This podcast is everything I need. I find most commentary on Attack on Titan to be frustratingly superficial, but these fine folks actually dig into the exceptional character nuance the series offers for those who are in it for more than the action.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And Best After Show Ever by Ordep196. Hi everyone, you're all so awesome. Thanks for the great podcast.
We love you
all.
I have to say, to the remark about Attack on Titan, for me, and people, having a very sort of shallow view of what the series is about, for me, I think the reason that I know the reason I like the series so much is because of the great characters. It's not about the Titans, it's about the interactions between the humans, and it's about the effect on human beings living within a society wherein they're no longer the top food chain. And it's interesting because I know that some people are like, no, this season, like, I don't know, they're not, like, there's not enough action or whatever. And I'm like, but we're getting all this great backstory from all these characters we got introduced to in the last season.
Exactly.
Like, to me, that's what I want in a show. And I think, you know, yes, the action is progressing at a fairly slow pace, but it's interjected with us learning more about these characters so that we care more about them. So if they do eventually get killed off, like, it hurts more, and that's
when.
and that's a good thing.
Exactly.
I feel like if you're only in this series for the action, you're missing about 60-65%.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because I felt like, you know, after watching the first season and not reading the manga, I was like, I feel like I'm missing out on something. Like, there was a missing piece, and then we got this season, and I was like, I feel like my questions for now have been answered, and now I have more questions. Like, it's just...
I feel better and also worse.
Yeah, at the same time. And I totally agree, because I was kind of on the same boat of just like, okay, it's all action, but I don't get anything out of it. So it's really great knowing that we have this now.
If we didn't have those episodes where there's not as much action, but if we didn't have those episodes digging into character depth, it wouldn't hurt as much finding out that Reiner's a traitor. Like, we don't feel any of the devastation of Connie's village potentially being, you know, turned into Titans. Or or even worse, just everybody there being dead, if we don't already know and like Connie.
Yep.
You know?
And I mean, Sasha's whole episode, and we get that little bit of backstory for her, and this is why she is the way she is. This is why she treats food the way she does. And then she takes on a Titan with an axe and a bow and arrow.
And
like,
literally
girl.
stabs a Titan in the eye with an arrow. Like,
Or even, again, Jean, talking about him, we would not hear about him if he didn't have his character arc in season 1.
If he were just like a rich douchebag, like, nobody would care. But like, he's a lot more than that.
No, he loves Mikasa, and he learns and grows and goes from being a very selfish character who only cares about being inside the safest walls to being somebody who puts his life on the line out there on the front lines for the sake of his friends.
And the same thing with Armin, because the fact that when we first met him, he seemed kind of like a mousy character, but we've seen him grow in such a great way to become the soldier that he is.
And even in this episode too, where he is with Mikasa and she has run out of blades. She's broken all of them because she can't get to the armor Titan because we haven't quite figured out, like, oh wait, we can also attack the back of the kneecaps.
Well, and that was after the armor on his leg
fell off.
Right, exactly. So, and just Armin, like, being there in the action and being like, hey, I'm not, like, afraid to be here, but I'm also not as good at killing these things as you are. You should take my blades.
Well, and he's just as hurt and betrayed as everybody else by this revelation. But at the same time, when Hanji gives the order, like, hey, guys, don't hesitate to kill these guys, it still breaks Armin's heart.
It does, but the thing that's great about Armin as a character is because of sort of the nature of who he is, like, he's oddly much more level than, like, a lot of the other people are. Like, he's like, internally processing these emotions, and you can tell that, like, he is hurt and he doesn't want to kill his friends, but he will if he has to. And, you know, seeing that in contrast to Mikasa, who's so, like, crazy worked up about it, it was nice.
Well, he's analytical, and he also has priorities. Like, these are the people who started all of this. They going down.
Well, and talking about, you know, the character development, we mentioned it a little bit earlier, but, like, the narrative structure of this episode, I actually think that this episode highlights why skipping so much of their time at the academy was actually so essential to telling this story in the way that it was meant to be told. Because at first, I was just like, oh, thank God. Like, so that saved us so much pointless drama and nonsense, and we get straight back to, like, Titan killing action. But now, like, how easy would it have been to see Annie as the female Titan if we had had this scene way earlier on?
True.
Like, it would have been, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was pretty predictable.
Yes.
But at the same time, we would have known in an instant, as opposed to going, maybe it's Krista, maybe it's someone else.
Just want to address to the chat, everybody's having a conversation about Levi. It's like, we gotta get Levi to intervene, but other people are saying he's injured, he's on the DL, but I do want to give a shout out to RA for Levi's spinoff series, Better Call Levi, which is gonna air, right after, what was my show about John Coles?
I missed it.
I suddenly forgot.
Suddenly John. Conversations with
Finally John.
Finally John. And Better Call Levi.
It's like suddenly Susan.
That's exactly what I was going for.
Is Better Call Levi literally just waiting at the base, waiting for him to be called?
Is he just sitting there just screw up so badly that he has to intervene?
He's just quietly cleaning something.
Wait, it's not even like he's waiting by a telegraph or a phone. Literally they have a Levi bat signal.
Is it just his face? I don't understand.
It's the Scout Corps.
It's the wings of freedom. And he's I'm needed.
My people need me.
And he just flies into action. But yeah, talking a little bit again about kind of this flashback and the way things are revealed. Again, so the reason. Oh, go ahead.
Just the only other show I've seen do this is Arrow. And it's variable sometimes. You have the flashback that.
Yeah.
I avoided that plane wreck.
Good.
Oh, God. I saw what you did there.
Hey,
That's terrible.
Good. You didn't waste 7 years of your life like I did.
Me too, girl. Me too.
Yeah. It's one of those shows where it's here's what's going on in the present. Here's what happened in the flashbacks to set up the skills and the interpersonal relationships whatnot that then come into play for the present episode. And Arrow sometimes falters on its, the flashbacks this season. Were they necessary? The flashbacks this current season are amazing. But seeing this happen, it's Arrow is on point. We have the flashbacks, and they set things up. And if they'd given us everything at the beginning, it would have been all right, this is great.
And again, to kind of go back to an earlier episode, when they are doing close combat training in another episode, Reiner says you never know what kind of opponent you're going to be facing, and Aaron here is you probably shouldn't have taught me how to fight if you were planning on kidnapping me.
Mandalore in chat says, some guy got more screen time in this episode than Sean has gotten in this whole season. So
that's not really...
Tell me about it.
Oh my God.
Mandalore is my new favorite person. My new favorite person has changed about three different times during this episode. Mandalore is my current new favorite person.
But we need to be specific that it was some guy's legs because we never actually saw some guy's.
We saw his silhouette.
It was some guy's ass.
Silhouette.
A little silhouette of a man.
Scaramouche.
Scaramouche, can you fight a giant titan?
Scaramouche is a different show. But,
we did that yesterday.
But here we also get one of the reasons, and we had this with Sasha too, is Sasha, earlier in the season, she was like, why am I thinking back to this moment when I'm in this life or death situation? And Aaron
because the audience needs to know.
Well, the audience needs to know. But also, I think it says it all in just that one shot of all of the Survey Corps members getting really excited for this matchup between Annie and Mikasa.
Oh, so awesome.
That was a time where they're all young and idealistic, alive, and together.
Oh, God.
True.
Do you think we're actually going to be able to see that fight?
No,
I don't think so, no.
But Aaron said it himself, he doesn't remember. Speaking of, since Aaron's an idiot and doesn't remember how this went down, I wanted to lay it out there on the panel. Who won this fight, Mikasa or Annie? Or was it disrupted by the officials because they were like, if we allow these two to fight, literally the camp will explode?
I think that it was
disrupted.
a draw.
Disrupted by the officials because
there's no way.
I know, but also who would win?
That's especially because Annie's her fighting style is all about using an opponent's strength against them.
Right.
And nobody's as strong as Mikasa.
Right. And
Mikasa is also smart and bloodthirsty.
I was gonna say, but she is. That's the thing. That was such a great scene for me because I'm we have two women fighting each other, and this isn't oh yay, girls are gonna fight. It's a cat fight. It's no, literally the two smartest, strongest, most capable people in our training class are about to battle each other.
Literally, Aaron goes, "It's happening,"
and they are both both women, and that is amazing.
It looks like everybody in the chat
thinks Mikasa.
This is like Attack on Titan death battles.
Yes, that would be awesome, and I need it in my life.
Death battle!
Let's get out.
That's what's playing in everyone's heads while they're watching these two square off. Like, oh.
Also, death battle, you should get on that. Just saying.
Well, and I also think Mikasa is smart enough not to underestimate Annie.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why this would have been such an epic brawl. And it's kind of trolling to cut away and not tell us who won. But at the same time, I'm like,
nothing they could have done would have been as good as what we're all imagining.
I mean, I would also think that, you know how sometimes in animes that we get two characters that are very, very strong, and they fight till they're tired, and then they just kind of fall over. Like, I know that's not what they would give us, but I can totally see that happening, and they'd be like, wow, that lasted like 8 hours. Okay, what now?
At the moment, we are 1 vote Annie and 6 votes Mikasa.
Yep.
So, Nine-Tail Phoenix, I think you're a little outnumbered.
honestly, I would go. I mean, maybe we should put up a
Annie's
poll on
awesome.
Twitter.
I know. I do like Annie.
I feel like we should put up a poll on Twitter. But
Yes.
I would say Mikasa, just based, and that's 100% character bias, or straight up tie. Like, stalemate.
Yeah.
I really do think that it was broken up by the officials.
And I think that Jonathan in chat brings up a good choice about how Annie would lose, because when things got tough, she wouldn't be able to transform into her Titan self.
That's true. That's a crutch that
she'd have to hold back a little, honestly.
Yeah, makes sense.
You know, that actually kind of reminds me of a character from Ruby who, like, it was a character thing where whenever the fight would get tough, she would fall back on her semblance and power her way through things as opposed to using strategy to win the fight.
You okay, Katie?
No.
There are so many disarming jokes in here.
No!
Stop it.
None of that. None of that.
All of that, you brought it up.
None of that. But how gratifying is it when Eren, after remembering this, uses Annie's moves and techniques against Reiner? He uses Reiner's comrades' techniques to take him down.
Stara says, next time on Titan Ball Z.
And we're also getting more votes for Annie, so
Yeah,
I think
it's happening.
this will be a Twitter poll.
Honestly, guys, it could honestly go either way. I think it is honestly a toss-up.
Yeah, and
So,
it was just really cool to see such awesome grappling moves, especially as a martial artist, like knowing that you're supposed to use your opponent's strength to overcome that, especially as a woman. So I thought that was really interesting that we were able to have
it was
that.
very specifically like, this is what you do when the person you're fighting is physically stronger than you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this show, you guys.
It's
I love
so
this
good.
show.
It's so good. And not to mention, we got this really great bit
Renji.
too. When Armin is like, "Hey, Eren, you should move back." Eren actually listens to him.
I know.
He actually listens to him. And when Hanji has this
Oh my
great,
God.
it is literally
It's my
probably
favorite
my
moment.
favorite thing in this episode.
The shoulder angel moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she hops onto his shoulder and basically tells him to use his head. He nods, and she's just
She's like
so
just all of the red.
happy because like
It's her listen, it's her entire life work to like learn about Titans and to talk. So like a Titan responding and
like a Titan talking to her.
Yeah, exactly.
Is like her dream come true.
Yeah.
Like, keep it together. Keep it together.
We're
if we
professional.
survive, I will just relive this moment later.
And then up I go. But yeah, I
Just
can
like, whoo, is that the Colossal Titan or is that me? Steaming.
Got a case of the vapors. Sorry, Alexis. You.
no.
What?
I apologize for nothing.
That's true. But no, I think it's very interesting that like that I could just see her like fangirling on the inside. So there's internally screaming from
like,
Brentford,
"Keep it
but she's
professional.
like
Keep it
fangirling on the
professional."
inside, and she's like, carry on.
Internal fangirling.
Yeah, just like it's just really funny to me.
It's just, again, it's one of those brilliant character bits that in a lesser series would just come off as a quirk.
Yeah.
Here it
Yeah.
comes off as depth, and I really love and appreciate that. And another really good choice, too, is keeping the focus, even though we go kind of in like a Gundam series, it would be inside the cockpit of a Gundam, but not really.
Yes, yeah.
But like,
It kind of is, though.
but yeah, so inside the cockpit of the Gundam that is this Titan form,
yeah.
we get Eren's inner monologue throughout this entire fight. But it is a really good choice not to cut to Reiner at all.
Yeah.
Because a lot of Aaron's struggle is, what kind of face are you even making right now? Like, what is going through your head, you piece of shit?
No,
Because,
like straight up.
Yeah, like, and thinking about it, like, it honestly disgusts him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will
Andrew Fedge says, I say again, Hanji as commander is great, but fangirling Hanji is best. Hanji, get you a partner who can do both.
Yes, correct.
I just feel like I will be curious to see if down the line we do get like Reiner within the Armored Titans perspective.
I would,
because I agree.
I would love and hate that.
I agree. We absolutely, it would have been a detriment to this episode. But in the future, if there was like
Absolutely.
adventures of
I need
Reiner
it.
the Armored Titan, like
I need it.
I mean,
I would like to think that Bertholtz is just high-pitched screaming the entire time.
I mean, like, because we get
It's all screaming. It never stops.
Oh my god,
I was
poor
not
thing.
ready for today.
But no, I was thinking of just like how we kind of got into Reiner's head during when they were inside the tower, and he was like, "I have to marry her," kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I can just imagine like what is going through his head as he's fighting his comrade. Like, you know,
I have to marry him.
Yeah,
I want to know
absolutely.
what the deal is with those
I just want to see what
What's
he's
the
feeling.
deal with Reiner and Bertolt?
We have a Seinfeld segment. These Titans can't do anything with them. Like, too much.
Where did they come from? What's
yeah,
their motivation?
I just think it'd be very interesting because of the fact that we get so many different levels of Reiner. I would love to see what actually happens with his plan, like, because he's so strategic. So I would like to see what it is. Is he actually fully emotional in there? If he's just like, need to get to the next step.
Yeah, it might be like a straight up like emotional, like cutting off emotions to like accomplish the mission sort of thing. I don't know.
I still think high-pitched screaming.
I mean, at least for Bertolt, for sure. That's all I hear.
Do not adjust your headsets. That is the correct
Speaking
tone.
of internal screaming, I think the
God.
very last shot of this episode is nightmare fuel for Day.
Yes.
It's just, you called it Giant Ghost Rider, didn't you?
Yes.
I see your sins.
It looks like Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider, giant, bearing down on you,
No.
like looking into your soul.
I can't believe you just brought that up.
Oh,
I'm
no,
never
that hit
going
me
to
as-
sleep ever again.
That would be more Johnny Blaze than Robbie Reyes, because more human skull as opposed to Star.
I disagree
Yeah.
because
I was
Robbie
getting
Reyes
some
is
Robbie
way more
Reyes
demonic.
vibes
Yeah.
for sure.
I wasn't even getting that at all. I'm never going to sleep.
I see your sins.
The end of because again, I watched the first season of Attack on Titan once. It was all already on Crunchyroll.
Oh my God.
I didn't have to deal with this simulcast situation where I have to wait a week between things. And like, it never occurred to me that like basically a season of Attack on Titan is just one really long episode because no episodes conclude. They literally just end.
Every time. Yeah.
It is the worst thing, which is
Oh
why.
my god.
What?
Reggie says hashtag Titanfall.
Why?
I'm killing it with the hashtag game tonight, man.
I'll allow it. That one's
Winner.
okay.
That hurts my soul.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think Attack on Titan gathered so much steam in terms of like creating a fan base for itself, because it kind of mastered the binge watching sort of pacing. Like it's the type of pacing where it's meant to, like, in the same way that a lot of Netflix shows, it's meant to literally go one right into the other, right into the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, this waiting is not. I'm not a fan of that.
So
And in
yeah,
the meantime,
literally
we're
like
all-
Titan fury rains down from the sky.
It's
that's
raining
how the
Justice
episode
reigns
ends.
from above.
It's raining Titans.
Oh god.
I don't know.
I don't know about Hallelujah, but like
it's more like, oh, dear
imagine
God.
that's how the apocalypse looks. Like,
No,
not
I
even
can.
gonna lie.
I can totally be on top of that. I'll just be like,
Jeez.
oh my God.
But like, I mean, and that's just so typical for Eren too. Like, he's this close to having an actual victory where he not only fought hard, but thought through a well thought out strategy.
He did so good.
And victory is snatched away from him because the world comes crashing down on him. That is just so typical.
Aaron just
Life
can't win.
sucks,
He
and
just
then
can't-
everyone around you dies.
Like
Yeah.
the one time he seems to be on top, that's when like a colossal titan just falls right on his face.
Hey guys, what's going on in this fight?
Is he eternally screaming as he's coming up?
Well, guys, I think we need to go ahead and move on into predictions. Do we have any final thoughts on this episode before we move into
watching.
it?
No. Besides, I mean, we saw. I don't know.
Just
if you,
God, oh God, why?
Yeah, it was mostly just me running around in circles, going ha ha ha.
We're all just kind of pushing our faces against the glass, going, "Where's the next one? Where's the next one?"
I mean, we can clearly see from the preview. It seems like everybody's okay, kind of question mark. But I'm very intrigued to see what the next step after that is, since everyone looks like they're kind of broken,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
all the way around.
Sound of Silence is playing, and everyone's
No, like
dead.
seriously, like over and
It's
over.
on speaker.
It's on the, it's
The
on
whole
the
next
list.
episode is actually just like Armin sitting against a wall while that song plays. And there's a slow zoom in on him as he flashbacks to his whole life.
Mad
World's
World's
playing in the
Yes!
background. And it's
Oh my God.
But
does
like
it
the
go- does it
sad
go black and
version,
white?
the sad version, not the original version by the Smiths.
Yes,
Or-
no,
or is it
the one
Morrissey?
from Donnie
Either
Darko.
way, yeah.
The one from Donnie Darko.
And then it just goes
that
all
one
black
for
and
sure.
white, and there's just slow pans everywhere.
Someone make that. I'm sure that AMV already
Probably
exists.
does. Probably does.
I was gonna ask for it, but it already
It's already
exists.
on
Who
the
am I
internet.
kidding? Does that do it for our predictions then? I was asking for final thoughts on this episode.
I think that's final thoughts on the series.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps
Oh, Mandalore brings up Hans is there.
Yeah, Hans is
yay.
here.
Hi, buddy.
Which it is good to point out that he hasn't actually seen Eren in his Titan form yet. This
It's
is the
true.
first time
Yeah.
he's like, oh wow, that's a thing. Because I imagine literally everybody in like the entire military has heard about
Yeah.
this, but very few people have actually
feel
gotten
like
to see
Hannes
it.
is somebody who's like perpetually out of the loop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's always the last person to know
But
things.
he's like a loyal member of the military who just like he's good at his he like tries real hard to be good at his job and he just like follows orders and is like, well, I never know what's happening.
No, but it tells
Well,
me
he's
nothing.
sober now, and he probably regrets being
Yeah.
sober.
Yeah.
He's just like in between shots to him, he's
But
actually just taking out a flask and
Just the entire time. I do like though.
Nope.
But I know we have to leave, but I did like that one like tidbit of everybody supporting Eren.
Yes.
Like all up against the wall
Oh
and just
my
like
gosh.
shouting at him, going,
Like,
"Do it!" You know.
It's so gratifying, especially because so many people were clamoring for his death when they found
Yeah.
out he was a Titan. And even kind of in the wake of his battle with Annie, they caused a lot of collateral damage.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's really
Falling
nice.
on the church is still just terribly funny to me.
It's hilarious
Oh, gosh.
and awful. But
It's one of those.
it's really gratifying to see, you know, the Survey Corps actively cheering on Eren, especially because for so long they told him you can't transform, don't do it, you're going to
Yeah.
lose control, and it's just going to be bad for everyone. And here he transforms for the first time since he fought Annie, and he's 100% in control, and he uses his brain, which is not something normal Eren does, which is wonderful.
He recognizes
it up.
that berserker mode is not going to work.
Yes.
Holy cow!
It's so great. Well,
Put
it
it
takes
on-
a couple punches to the face before that kind of
sure. And a
starts.
few
And
little
And 3.5
spins.
turns in the
Yep.
stratosphere and a brief trip into the past.
just mild time travel before he...
Mild time
I
travel.
think it's a good line to cross. It's like, oh wow, I time traveled. I think I need to get my crap together.
Armored Titan hits so hard, like he defies quantum physics. But the only other
Titan
thoughts
cheers
I have
on.
on this episode is that I loved that it was a perfect balance of character development and action. And actually, something that surprised me was even though I'm still not about CGI Colossal Titan,
Yeah.
oh my god,
You look good.
Like, they made it work. I'm still not about it, but they made it work, and it looked fantastic.
Like it felt like that there was like. I think the
That
fact that he
spin
was
around the arm.
and the fact that he was just because he's so colossal, the fact that you can actually see, like, you can feel that he's huge, I guess is what the best way to put that is, because you can see from every angle. I don't know, it was very interesting.
Well, and it makes sense to do him because he's not in direct combat with anyone. To
Correct.
do him for CGI, rather. He's not in direct combat. That is a very, very detailed model. So instead of having to animate 85,000 frames, you rig the model, you texture the model, you animate that, and then you don't have to worry about recreating the wheel every single time.
And especially because he moves so slow. Like, we don't need that at all.
Well, and the use of framing and movement in the animation sequence, I forgot about halfway through that. I was looking at CGI, and even though I hate it, like, it looked great, and I have to give them 100% credit.
It definitely,
it's better than slideshow on Titan.
Yeah, and it was definitely a lot better than any of the CGI that Toei thinks is a great idea to put into Dragon Ball Super or Sailor Moon.
Let's not bring that up.
Shots
yesterday. Last week.
Thank God Sailor Moon Crystal got 2D animated transformation sequences again.
We realize this is terrible and we should never do this again.
Never again.
Aria says the next episode is from Father Nick's perspective.
Oh, God.
Oh, Lord. I mean, we'd probably get some answers.
Yeah, I would like that very much.
No, it's just all internal monologue and Dies Irae in the background.
Oh, my God.
Hellfire. All right, guys. Well, I think that just about does it for our show this week. Alexis, where can people go if they want to find you?
You guys can find me all over the interwebs at atorres890. I'm on a bunch of shows here on AfterBuzz TV. I can't list them because there's too many. Don't forget the launch of this podcast that I will be part of called trendpunk.com, where we got to talk about bad movies and just the other stuff that I talked about last week. Look it up. We are launching on June 4th, so check it out. It's pretty awesome. We have like a beer show, bad movies. It's called Beer Punks. It's pretty freaking sweet. Or designated drunk. I can't remember which one it's called, but we're working on it.
Can I be a designated drunk?
Yes, sure.
I volunteer.
Yeah,
And I drink cider.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a whole bunch. We talk about everything. But yeah, we'll check it out. June 4th. Trendpunk.com.
I'm Emma Fyffe. I can be found all over the internet at my name, Emma Fyffe. You can find me mostly on Twitter and Instagram, and also I have a professional Facebook page that you can go like that I'm like really trying hard to post things on now. Also, if you guys want to hang out with me tomorrow, you can for a really long time, starting at 1:00 p.m. Pacific time on twitch.tv/hyperrpg. It will be the continuing adventures of my new show, Adventures in Fiefdom, wherein I play JRPGs. Currently, I am playing Persona 5, and I am delighted by this game, you guys. And that's 1:00 p.m. twitch.tv/hyperrpg.
Little kitty paws in Persona. Kitty paws. I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me all over the social medias and on YouTube at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. I am on all sorts of shows here. Big one is Samurai Jack series finale is coming Sunday. Robots in Disguise tomorrow. Arrow is back on Wednesdays, and my birthday is in 2 days. So if y'all feel like spoiling me, I have a wish list in my Twitter profile.
Do the things.
And I'm Megan Salinas. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I am also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for the Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you all next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.